everybody please, tag a PNM supporter. Tag a PNM supporter, preferably one who yard wet, but taps dry. Tag that person, because I want to explain where we want the water go. That we have an answer. Where you want the blasted water go? We have an answer. Don't cost the water, we need the water, don't cost it. But that is push and that's dig and that's twist and the vex. Where you want the water go? Let me tell you where we want the water go. Capture, hold, treat, distribute. Let me give you an example. So, for the people who are accustomed, every day people have until they go Martin, who understand tongue, there's flood. Where you want the water go? I want to sink retention ponds under Brian Lara Promenade from the Cathedral to Hyatt. I want to sink 5 million cubic liters of water there. So when you see water flowing, coming down Edward and Richmond and St. Vincent and Abercrombie and Pembroke and Frederick and Charlotte and Henry, and when it come in, you don't know where to go because it bounces up water that reach already. But if you had a retention pond underneath Brian Lara Promenade, if the whole face of it was just sluice, holes, psh, water just falling, you hear the water falling. Water could fall for 3 days and full that. And reach a point where you know that little orange ball you have in your water tank? When it reach full, it click and stop water flowing. Well, you can't stop rainwater from flowing. But the same idea, when it reached to a point and it could raise that buoy, turns on a switch that turns on the pumps that starts to express feed that water to reservoirs. Boom. And that's the only pipe you want running under the streets. That's the only pipe. You don't want pipe from Caroni to Diego Martin and from Tucker Valley to San Fernando. You don't want that. That's a waste of time. It's a waste of money. It's a waste of effort. It's foolishness. But if you, and this is just Port of Spain. Now, what we going to do in San Fernando? What we going to do in Toco? What we going to do in Arima? That's all and all whataboutism. Whataboutism killing me. I tell you this. Hear this word, extrapolate. Hear this word, copy and paste. Hear this word. Hear this phrase. Take the same idea and do it similarly elsewhere. St. James. Similarly. You see, every muck that ever had a public office know where the water collects. When it come down the roads, the streets, when it come down and it reach Western Main, when it reach Mokorapo Road, it reach Arapita Avenue, when it come down, we know where it collects. That point there is where you sink underground retention ponds, underground. And you don't need cars to be driving on a canyon. All you need is sluices. All you need is tonight, while everybody's sleeping, you open up the road, you dig it straight down, and you drop a 10,000 gallon 10 times, 100,000 gallons. That's now start underground, and you put your lid on top, and you pave back the road before tomorrow, before people come to use it. Now there are sluices and entrances for the water to just run in and fill those tanks. Everybody knows that the meteorological office tells you we had 10 inches, 12 inches, 14 inches of rain yesterday. And the reason for them telling you 10 inches, 12 inches, 14 inches of rain is that it measures in collection devices. There's one in St. Mary's College, and this is how I know because I interfere with it. But there are devices all over the country. So they can tell you that inside this device, they can measure 12 inches of rain in the device. And that has a meaning of volume of water outside. 12 inches in the device means 50 million gallons of water. I just join your reference for zero to quote me. The point I'm trying to make to you is we know how much water you could go to the archives because they write it down. 10 inches today, 12 inches tomorrow, 14 inches the day after that. You could go to the archives if we have. I'm assuming that we have, that we've not thrown the data away. It's not like records in the general hospital. I'm assuming that somebody's entering this data January 1st, January 2nd, January 3rd, the rain that fell, how much inches, that somebody has that information and we can find out what was the most amount of rain that ever fall in St. James. And that is your target. You see, that's your target. If you sink retention capacity that could hold the worst amount of rain that ever fell, then it have to fall worse than that to flood. But it can't flood because our capacity triggers at, say, 3/4 to turn on pumps, to empty the capacity, to express that water either into reservoirs, dams, greater retention facilities, or into the sea. But the water that you captured in all of those retention facilities, that water throughout the country, build your water management there. You understand how the science works? Where the water collects, build your reservoirs there, build your retention ponds there, put your water treatment facilities there. You don't need 2, you need 200. We can benefit from more than that throughout the country. Wherever there is a natural settlement point for water that floods, right there underground, we take in millions of gallons of water. And we're holding it, we're capturing it as the first step. So we will never flood again. This is so simple, even Ganga Singh could understand this. The hundreds of millions of dollars that PNM gave to Emru Millet and Bywater for all the shit that went on in this country and all the different contracts and all the different kickbacks that went on in Trinidad and Tobago, Phillip Edward Alexander just solved flooding in Trinidad for free. That anywhere the water naturally collects, put out a thing. You see how TSTT and you see how CNC3 and TV6 just run down your videos so they can have something to show on news? Did you flood? Send the video to us. That's data. Somebody should be collecting that data so that we know this part of the country floods. Like Cocorit, where the Western Main Road flyover happens over Cocorit by John Street, across the road from Peaks gas station. Water collects there every time it rains heavily. So right underneath there, put a retention pond. Put a retention pond able to hold the capacity of what comes that the worst has ever collected there. And then you put a water maker, a cleaning facility, and you redistribute that water right in that community. That is not rocket science. Ganga Singh and crew learned about desalination when they went down Gaspar Grande. And Gaspar Grande had their own tiny little desalination plant. And they, wow, if you could do this, we could do this on a massive scale. So we just don't need to catch the water in Trinidad, so we can have a reason to desalinate. But the same concept of micro water makers exists. So that John Street and that community, that water that collect in that retention pond right there, that is for them. Capture, hold, treat, distribute. The water falling into the tank could turn turbines and save energy in batteries to power the pump. This is no joke, you know. It could be solar powered, it could be wind powered, but it could be water powered too. And even hydraulics could be used. Hydraulic power has been used in the world for thousands of years. The Romans, the Babylonians, the Mesopotamians, the Persians have been using hydraulic systems with water. Water wheels are hydraulic systems. It's systems using the power of the water. We used to drive mills in rivers. Remember that? So the point I want to make to you is this. When they ask you where you want the water go, right there, underground. Tell them I say so. Right there. Dig down. Dig down. How much is the worst that ever fell here? 50 million cubic liters? 50 million gallons? We're sinking 50 million, how much ever, to hold 50 million gallons? We're sinking that underground. That's it. Put the technocrats. to solve it. When I went to see Jack Warner about the four roads traffic, and I told Jack that 35,000 people tried to get into Diego Martin on an afternoon, and they come up one lane, and they reach a place where there is Starlight Plaza and Suarez Supermarket and a crosswalk and an intersection and a gas station and a bakery. And all that happens at four roads. And if you sneeze there, traffic back up to Movie Town. And I said to Jack, I measured it. I went with my own tape measure. And I measured that the land exists to do a bypass behind four roads. You could leave four roads for those who still want to use Diego Martin Main Road, but you could bypass it completely and connect to Crystal Stream Highway. And Jack brought the technocrats. My job is to provide a solution, the idea. Bring the technocrats, and they built what is now the four roads bypass. And people who used to be in traffic for hours every evening, fighting up to go around West Morris roundabout, to come up behind St. Pinbus Church, to go up La Percha, to go in through Broome Street, to try and beat the traffic, all that done. Because a solution was applied. Now in Trinidad, we don't apply solutions because people want to thief money. And I have to keep telling that to the guy who cut my hair today, Faiz. I met Faiz, F-A-I-S. He owns a place called, what is? Fade Master. Master of Fades. He real good. Look how cute he am looking. And I was explaining to him, every time he raised an issue with me, I said, it is not. He said, you telling me these ministers don't go away and see, they just close their eyes. I said, no, they see and their eyes wide open, but they knew before they left. Trinidad is set up so that people who are connected to the government could thief money. That's it. In every field, in every sphere of endeavor, things that you can't talk about. Set up to thief money. In this country, the entire Trinidad and Tobago philosophy is how to thief money. That's it. People approach every problem from the position of, how do I use this to thief money? How do I use water to thief money? And then somebody said, let me do this. Let me build drains that will throw all the water in the sea. So people will never have water. Never saying water, water everywhere, but not a drop to drink. That's Trinidad. Today, water everywhere, but not in your pipe. Diego Martin, there are parts of Diego Martin that water fell on for 24 hours a day today. Greedy rainfall last night. Bust your head rainfall last night. Enough rain to give Diego Martin water for the next 100 years. Fell on Diego Martin last night. And there are people who woke up today with empty tanks and dry taps. Not because we don't know how to manage water. Disabuse yourself of that notion. Change your mind. Regardless of which party you support, I want you to understand that the PNM and the UNC exists for one purpose only. As far as the financiers who give them money are concerned, you see to the racists in society who want to eat shit once they're shirt in power, they don't matter. They matter at elections time because they tip the balance with their insipidity. But the reason the PNM and the UNC exists is to thief money. To thief money. So you wash all that water out into the sea. Water that fell on Diego Martin tonight, this morning, in Venezuela tonight. But there's still no water to put in the tanks. And that you have tanks is to thief money. That you have pumps is to thief money. That you have bottled water in your house, in your fridge, is to thief money. That you could have desalination plants in a country that gets 10,000 times the fresh water it could ever use. Fazir, Phillip, where you get that number? 10,000. Where that written down? I don't know, Fazir, but I have common sense. So you could say 100 times, I could say 10,000 times, Johnny and Mary could say 1,000,000 times. It doesn't matter. Every cent beyond need is greed. So when we're talking about more than is anything greater than was enough. So 10,000 times the water we could ever use, we throw it in the sea. And then we go into the sea and we bring in seawater and we scrub out the salt. And we say, look, magic! Look, magic! Kunumumus and cocks in government that can't catch water want to tell you that they're making magic. And Kamala and them went and signed and extend the contract for desalination for 35 years. So Kamala Prasad Bisesa, I want to say to you, you could stand up and talk all the Sushila and Camille bullshit you want. You all have serious questions to answer about the mismanagement of this country. And tonight they're talking flooding and farming and food. They say water more than flour. No, no water, no flour. Trinidad and Tobago, I want you all to know, I watched a show the other night about a country called Mauritius. Mauritius is off the coast of Africa in the Indian Ocean. 60% of the population is 30% African, 30% Indian, kind of like Trinidad and Tobago. The rest mix up, kind of like Trinidad and Tobago. It's an island, kind of like Trinidad and Tobago. 1.2 million people, kind of like Trinidad and Tobago. Got their independence in the early 70s, kind of like Trinidad and Tobago. African, Indian, and everybody else living together with Creole and curry and Chinese food, and everybody living normal in Mauritius. But they don't have our crime, and they don't have our corruption, and they don't have what makes us a failed nation, because they don't have a PNM and they don't have a UNC. And I'm watching the show and I'm thinking to myself, there is some kind of mind trick. That there's a country that is exactly like Trinidad, that is just not a shithole like Trinidad. They never had $3 trillion from oil, we did. And they thief it out. Them who never had it have a better run country. How you like them apples? How you like them apples? And that's the truth. There are places, there is a Singapore in the world. That there is a Singapore in the world. Lee Kuan Yew came to Trinidad to meet with Eric Williams to see what Eric was doing, because Lee Kuan Yew got Singapore that was ejected from Malaysia. When Singapore was ejected from Malaysia, they were hopeless. There was nothing for them. There was prostitution and drug running and corruption, and Singapore was a throwaway nation when Lee Kuan Yew took it. And Lee Kuan Yew did two things. He made a contract with the people and he signed an undated resignation. He said, anytime you don't want me to run this country, fire my ass. And Lee Kuan Yew put policies in place that executed corrupt politicians. That when planes are about to land in Singapore, when they enter Singapore airspace, the pilot says, just to let you know, the flight attendants will be passing around with a bag for any narcotics and illegal drugs that you may have in your possession, because in Singapore, that is a capital crime. So the flight attendants tell everybody, in case you miss it, or in case you're stupid, or in case you think they enforce the law like how Trinidad has enforced the law, when you're in their immigration, they tell you, that toilet, flush whatever drugs you have in drugs on you, it is jail, long sentence, and you could get executed. Bone, pound for pound, size for size, just eclipsed the United States of America prior to COVID-19. Everything that happened with COVID-19. So the world will resettle itself. But I'm saying to you that without oil and without gas, with proper leadership, Singapore is a first world nation, developed nation, and Trinidad is a country of Colm Imberts, Stuart Youngs, and Keith Rowleys. Trinidad is a shithole, a maggot-infested latrine pit. Trinidad is a jackass farm. We are fools. To hear poor black people defend the cough and the kick that they just get in their face every day. I don't know if that man, if police kill him, or if he kill himself, doesn't matter. That could happen in Trinidad. Normal. That be normal. By the time I get the messages this morning, you see it, 4 people there, 3 in the car and 1 on the road. 1 run and they catch him and they shoot him. I tried to share something. I realized, listen, the information coming at me is plenty shit, so I gotta leave it alone. But the fact that we could videotape a black man dying, drag his body and fling him in a vehicle and go, should tell black people how irrelevant their lives are. And I want to know if that was a Sabga or a Aboud that they had run down. I hearing an echo from Bayshore saying a Sabga and a Aboud wouldn't be robbing nobody with a gun. And I would say, the with a gun part, I agree. Trinidad and Tobago is a broken, disgusting nation. And we treat all of the descendants of Kunta Kinte. It don't matter. At least when the video roll, it show you. You're valued enough for them to want to beat you to keep you. Yeah? Here, here black lives don't matter. No lives matter. Because to qualify and quantify, Trinidadians say, when a Syrian get killed, they go riot. They killed Nicole Moses at bright early morning. Life went on. Life, really and truly, doesn't matter in this shithole. We are all making excuses to get through the day every day. That's what we're doing. We're on the hustle. We're on the dock. I am fighting organizations of state that should be protecting me that are being used by criminals to oppress me. And I have to deal with that too. And I have to say that, because people ask me all the time, why are you still doing this? Why? And to the hundreds of people who message me daily that get ignored. Because like I asked today, a woman, she messaged me once at a long talk. She fought children, they sleeping on a mattress that floating on 2 crates. She had no food and they're suffering. And I asked her, have you approached your MP? She said, kinda. I said, but kinda. She said, well, I called them, but they didn't take my call. And you have your children on them crates and in that mattress with no food, and you not by your MP office? You see, people think that because we have a good heart and we want to fix the country that we are fools. We're not fools. And people tell you, boy, some of them PLM sycophants, they'll come and ride there, take what you get, what you have. I didn't just come. I could tell a problem that needs solving from bullshit, and I had to learn. Tara Dial and them could tell you, Jericho Project, we had get called for this family in South. We went down there. If you see the house, see the condition these people living in, rat don't want to live in this house. And we organize food, and we organize money, and we organize clothes, and we organize fridge and stove and thing for them. And then people tell me, Phillip, you know, they're not living in that house they show you, you know. They're living in the concrete house across the road. They're using that house they show you to get money and food from you. And that is the kind of people we have to deal with in Trinidad and Tobago. Message me and say, it's desperate. My children eat for 4 days. We're suffering. Sorry. I'm going to put up, I'm going to screenshot this with your number so people call you directly. No. I come there for help, not for shame. Your children starving, but you still have shame. When I post a post about somebody's condition, Trinidadians respond. High, low, big, small. They respond and they come and they help. And I have to be careful sometimes because some of them that I post, I have no way of knowing, doing any kind of due diligence. I have to take their word for it and put it out there and tell people I do not know. But if you want to help, contact this person directly. Just a shithole because we've allowed it to be a shithole. We've allowed our problems to exacerbate. There are some TSTT workers, ex-TSTT workers, who are being screwed in their head by the PNM, that are still loyal to the PNM, who are seeing Phillip Alexander and the Citizens Union of Trinidad and Tobago fight for the ex-TSTT workers that the PNM is screwing, and they fighting Phillip. Fighting Phillip. Seeing solutions coming, but don't want it because it's Phillip, because it's embarrassing the party that screwing them. It's like Rowley video, except Kunta Kinte telling the overseer, come now man, put your back in that lash now man. That last one was like a hug up. Hit me properly now man. But you put on that whip and get somebody who could actually beat me now. And that's how PNM, some of the PNM cult members are. And people ask you, what you're going to do to change that? I don't know. I cannot. I don't have the science to break the shackles in a sycophant's mind. Bob Marley tell them and they just shake their head and sing redemption song. It is up to us to free our own minds. And they singing that. Buju Banton sing a song the other day. I want to play the words for them. It should embarrass them and they're singing and they're dancing and don't realize that these people singing to you. Free your own mind. Now, I have to say today to 3 black brothers, as I understand, when you are dealing with people who have historic hurts from people who look like me and whiter, you have to understand, and I do. I absolutely appreciate it. And I know that for the past decade, I have had to prove myself. Because I said today, people will tell you, you're either a jackass or you're a genuine article. You're either a very good liar or you're a genuine article. And to lie this long, what do I have in it for you? All the racism in Trinidad and Tobago helps nobody but the thieves. All the Black Party and Indian Party bullshit, all it does is help the thieves that finance and operate those two parties. That the Financial Intelligence Unit can't tell you where the money comes from. The Elections and Boundaries Commission will ask you how much money you spend and where you can prove. But other people outside there, they're not in we party. I don't know who them is. Them say they supporting we and them giving people money, but them not with we. Them not in we party. So it's bullshit. It should show. It's a maggot-infested latrine pit that puts people like Colm Imbert in office. Colm Imbert, to call him a shithong is to insult shit and hongs. Colm Imbert, Keith Rowley, Stuart Young are the pus-filled pimples of the cancer that has destroyed Trinidad and Tobago. That PNM in 2009, let me show you who you're dealing with. In 2009, they have complained that Dr. Rowley has betrayed their party and gone against government policy. However, they are yet to argue that he was wrong. They have not rebutted the issues brought up by Dr. Rowley vis-a-vis Udicott, Calderheart, and corruption. Furthermore, it was obscene for Works and Transport Minister Colm Imbert to ask Rowley to get over Udicott and Calderheart when it is the very PNM that held on the Piarco Airport issue like a pit bull to undermine the UNC. Now I'm telling you this. Them fellas hate each other. Forest people, I have been told it is Forest people that given the UNC all the information that Jayanti Lachmidial and them using to prosecute Foster Cummins. Because Foster Cummins was being used to replace Faris Al-Rawi. But those who don't learn from history are condemned to relive it. Because Basdeo Pandey tried that same shot with Ramesh Lawrence Maharaj. And Basdeo Pandey had promised Ramesh Lawrence Maharaj that he would be his anointed heir. And when Basdeo Pandey changed that and rubbed Carlos John head, Ramesh Lawrence Maharaj formed Team Unity and pulled down the government. The Gang of Four that became the Three Musketeers pulled down Pandey's government. Pandey was never to see government again. And Rowley and his people are trying the same shot. Faris. They bust Faris' throat. Faris was fired, you know. Faris wasn't remade into a local government minister. Faris was demoted. He was insulted. He was put in his place. And Faris had a press conference scheduled for that evening. And many say that he was going to bring out dirty laundry for people to see. Because Clarence Rambarat at that same time had told the nation that the PNM rotten inside and corrupt. And he told tales that sickened him to the point where he just wanted to quit and leave and go and find his family. It was sickening him. I don't know what they do in the PNM to have Faris stunting all over the place, cutting bush and pretending this is what I always wanted to do. But there's no love lost in the PNM that the new AG has burnt down. Armor gone. He have to go. He might get charged. There must be an investigation. Like when Guardian writes, Wassa CEO found guilty. Why didn't Guardian follow that up with calls for investigation into Five Islands? There's no call for no investigation into Five Islands. Aboud and them don't have nothing to worry about. The CEO acted on his own. The CEO of Wassa just decided, you know what? Take a free money. Five Islands wasn't involved. And we don't need an investigation to get to the bottom of that. Because this is Trinidad and Tobago. And that is what is wrong with Trinidad and Tobago. And to the supporters of the PNM, the Bible said the upholder worse than the thief. So when you come to defend it, understand, you defending the illegal guns and the illegal bullets that killing your children. You defending a failed nation whose justice system cannot deliver justice on time, that has people incarcerated in Trinidad and Tobago for years longer than they could have been there, convicted of nothing, and nobody of any hue, black, white, red, green, any shade in between, care to talk about it. Because like Kunta Kinte, descendant who died on UTT lawn on Wrightson Road today, in Trinidad and Tobago, black lives don't matter. And 99% of the people incarcerated, convicted of nothing, are black. And to people of black skin, it's easy to make an excuse. And I know, because I tell you, easy to make an excuse. And you can justify anything. You can rationalize. But as Wayne Dyer say, you have to tell yourself a rational lie to rationalize. And what happens when the person that the shit is falling on is you or somebody you love? Then you have to find somebody like me and say, boy, you was right all along. If I had only known, that don't help me. I told Wayne Ram and the guy we buying the hydroponic system from, I say, looking down at a dead body and saying, I told you so, don't bring me no satisfaction. Telling people when the country finally descends into chaos, I told you all, there's no satisfaction there. My job is to tell you now. My job is to tell you that it is coming. My job is to tell you that if you do not wake up to the reality of the insanity of this country, like the African proverb said, that you're seeing going on in the schools and in the streets, and you want to unleash the police or the army on the students, and you're not realizing that that is a symptom of the collapse of the nation, that children who are locked and kept outside of the village will burn it down to feel its warmth. Gregory Sloan Seal sent me a message today. Why children Children will do to society what society did to them. I keep telling you all, Gregory Sloan Seal is one of the best trained people in dealing with the issues of the hotspots and the at-risk communities in Trinidad and Tobago. And the fact that he is no longer in public service is a serious loss to Trinidad and Tobago. They should pay him anything. When you go and pick up Gibbs and Iwatsky, you pay them $1 million. But why you can't pick up a Trinidadian who is even more qualified? Because not only do you have qualifications, you have systemic knowledge and experience. You know the streets. You know these people. You see, Trinidadians on the whole, not just black people, Trinidadians on the whole don't want to be having to do wrong to survive. But when you have these little children walking past this car that park and block the road or block the pavement every day across from Unipet in St. Augustine, and these children now have to walk in the road or walk in the bush, if one of the children do something wrong to the car, they could jail the child, they want to punish the child. But police passing every day and seeing that car, they're not doing nothing about it. A man write me and tell me, yeah, but you don't know about the crime in the country. And where in front of his house, if he park it in his yard, they come in and break in. So, to protect his car, frig everybody else. And next man write me, what you want to say if he park it in the road? You're vexed because he park it in the pavement. If he park it in the road, that cause traffic. But he's causing a block and obstruction to pedestrians. Too wrong to make a right. You can't tell me that because you have this wrong, you will use this wrong to get around it. And I don't know him. I responded to the complaint. Because people are asking. There are some people who are messaging me about a Jehovah Witness church or a Seventh-day Adventist church. That the people who are attending church blocking their pedestrian gate and their driveway, and they have spoken to them repeatedly and they're ignoring them. So they're messaging me. I say, have you called the police? She said, no, we tell them we're going to do that if they keep it up. I said, what are you calling me for? You called me when you've exhausted every possibility. But right now, call the police and ticket every car that on the pavement blocking your driveway and your pedestrian gate. And let them vex. You come to pray, but you're oppressing people. When you come to me, I'm going to ask you. When you come to me about your school and what's going on in the school, I'm asking you, are you on the Parent Teachers Association? No. When was the last time you met with the principal? I don't meet with them. So what do you want me to do? What am I supposed to do? Jump in this thing and take care of your responsibility. There are people who actually think like that. Eric Williams, to pull them off the farm, created a culture of entitlement for handouts. So it come to the point where people don't know that they have a responsibility to their own self and their self-preservation and that of the people that they are responsible for. So when things go wrong with the person who is feeding you now, you're looking for a new source of food. Instead of fixing your community, instead of fixing your family, instead of fixing your life. And that's the heart of what is wrong with Trinidad and Tobago. Because we are willing to sell our intelligence, our critical thinking, our situational awareness to people and say, hey, you just give me my share and do it on. Trinidadians is telling this thing, all politicians will thief, at least give me back something. That's bullshit. No politician should thief at all. Not even a little bit. Stop settling for foolishness. Vote a government that will hang members of parliament and once duly prosecuted, of course, but make it a capital crime and their associates in business. And if their lawyer was facilitating the criminal enterprise, hang the lawyer too, prosecuted, due diligence, court, but we have to clean up everything. We have to make sure that when we send people through the system is set up properly to deal with this. Trinidad is a spit in the ocean. We 1.2 million people. When you hear them telling you the Privy Council want we to go on because we are pressing, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. Trinidad don't have enough cases in a year to be a burden to the Privy Council. It's just bullshit. The Privy Council set up to deal with the largest empire the world has ever known. Privy Council set up to deal with 1.4 billion people from India. China would be 1.2 million people, could bother them with what, 5-6 cases a year? They come in to fool you, and you have to always ask yourself why. And that's an issue we have to deal with. But I say to Trinidad and Tobago, we are nowhere near yet ready. And you know what's the best reason? The amount of our cases that get overturned at the Privy Council. And if we can't handle our cases now, what's the guarantee that our Caribbean Court of Justice can replace the Privy Council? We don't know. And this is not something we want to play fast and loose with. Now, there are people who, they are immersed in that environment and believe, and I respect your belief. But as a citizen of the country, and as somebody who has experienced my share of stuff, I want to tell you, I disagree. And I think that we need a proper commission of inquiry into the administration of justice in Trinidad and Tobago. We desperately need that. Our nation is broken by deliberate design. Everything has been poisoned by divisive politics that on the ground seems like it's a fight. But it's two wings of the same bird fighting each other. But the real criminality that's going on in Trinidad and Tobago does not reach our courts. And it doesn't reach our justice system. It doesn't reach law enforcement. The last figure I heard, must be 10 years ago, was that we'd spent $150 million trying to prosecute the Piarco airport scandal. All that had anything to do with Ish and Steve and Brian and all those people. And that's been going on in Trinidad now for quite some time. And I'm sure it's in the hundreds, plural, of millions. Because we're all over the world in all kinds of jurisdictions. So we're in the hundreds of millions of dollars. And we're no closer to getting justice. Before the blood dried in Boston, before the tears of the victims in Dallas, where that fellow blew up that federal building, they were executed. Speedy justice sends a strong message. It sends a strong message to society that at the last moment, when all of your reason has been abandoned, let fear grip you and remind you, if anything could reach you at that moment in your blind rage to tell you, you are not going to escape this. There will be a consequence. It may give you reason to pause and take one step back. Delay stimulus and response. Just enough for there not to be a criminal act take place. Bloomberg in New York City deals with 8 million people and was almost fired when their murder rate was 120. We deal with 1.2 and we have murder rates of 500. And if we drop it by 3, we celebrate it. Best year yet. People are asking me more and more every day, plenty more of late. Do we have a plan? Do we have a team? When we launched the Progressive Empowerment Party in 2017, we launched the party with an office, with uniforms, with a proper manifesto, with plans, policies, ideas, people. We launched it and we set it up ready to run with solutions to problems. Satish and Raphael released today a video I did in 2020 about farming. And it touched on things that we hinted that would come, that would happen, that between then and now did happen, including the theft of land that Clarence Rambarat spoke about. The Progressive Empowerment Party fielded 34 candidates in the 2020 election under a snap election with 6 weeks. And we got 34 candidates. We had to drop it down to 29 because some didn't make it through the final stage of the process, nomination. But 21 candidates is all you need to form a government. 21 successful candidates to form a government. We are 29. No other party has done that. Now, and I can tell you this, the Progressive Empowerment Party is more than ready. We have the best people in the world. When people hear my brother speak, Dr. Paul Elias Alexander, he is international. He has White House experience. These are people, when we talk about, people ask me the other night, Richard Blaze called in. We said this is our national security advisor. And people messaging me saying, who's this guy? I said, yeah, he's a member, part of our team. And we have people that we are afraid to release now because they get attacked. And not everybody's set up for the bullshit that comes with politics in this country. And we need to make sure that we come out with our full team just before elections. People say we want to get to know them. You know what? You know them. You know them. The Trinbagonians. Eric Williams and the PNM has been having crappos in Balize ties elected for decades. So those set a higher standard for me than you set for the PNM and the UNC. Our reason for shielding our serious ministerial, our dedicated ministerial or even shadow MPs right now is to protect them. Right now, political parties being launched with nothing and trying to woo our members because they don't have the wherewithal to actually build the framework of a political party. And I said repeatedly, there is only one purpose for a political party, and that is to win an election, to contest and win an election. MSJ is a political party that does not contest elections. So how is that a political party? And they need to come to terms with that. If you are a political party, it is you have an intention of contesting an election to win it convincingly, to govern the country properly. That is the Progressive Empowerment Party's mission. We are at work every day. We are at that mission 7 days a week. Progressive Empowerment Party is engaged in some political endeavor 7 days of every week. 4 weeks of every month, except the months that have 5, and 12 months out of the year. Take a little time off for Christmas. But the Progressive Empowerment Party is hard at work at doing what it takes to fix it. We created a Citizens Union of Trinidad and Tobago after the defeat in 2020 so as to continue to serve, to have a reason and a rationale, and most importantly, a proof of concept that we could, if given the opportunity to govern, fix it. And of late, people are realizing that there are very few things that they could come to us with that we won't take on and fix. And that our teams are strong, dedicated, committed, trained, professional people, loyal to the cause. And starting this Saturday at noon, we are going to have anybody who has a problem that they need help with, that would like to talk to me. You don't need an appointment on Saturday. Just come, and come early, because the office will, those meetings start at noon. So come before noon on a Saturday, for as long as it takes to meet everybody. And we're going to have a team of people whose job it is to take notes and to take information. They're going to have breakout rooms. So you're going to have a brief meeting with me, and you're going to explain the problem to me. And once it is something that we could get involved in, one of our people will go out with you to one of the breakout rooms and take all of the information from you that we need to help you to fix it. Do not come if what you need help with fixing has to be a secret, because everything that we fix, we want Trinidad to know. A man tell me, why y'all telling everybody everything y'all fix? Because the media hides me, so that the public not supposed to know me. And the fact that my name and our name, the Progressive Empowerment Party, is as big as it is right now, shows that we have even gotten around that media censorship and that block. And that they come and they find me when the stories that we prosecute, Wildflower Park, Paria, Andrea Barrett, a lot of these politicians, they're talking, Andrea, Paria, whoever, they're jumping on bandwagons that had I not taken it up and put the Progressive Empowerment Party and all of our resources to work to prosecute, they would not have known and they would not have cared. And most importantly, they could not have done it themselves. So all they're doing right now is riding on the coattails of work that we have done for relevance. I met with Christopher Boudram this week, the surviving diver. And he came to tell me, I went and saw everything you did. And if you didn't do those things, people wouldn't know my name and they wouldn't know Paria. And that's a fact. And that's not me beating my chest. The 250,000 people that watched the video about Wildflower Park would never have known that there was a Wildflower Park or that what was going on in Wildflower Park was happening, even though it was happening for months. That bridge in Felicity has been broken down for 3 years. People message me and ask me, I share it on Facebook, we say we're going down there. Next thing I know, the next day, CNC3 covering it, and the council are talking about it, MPs asking about it, and people writing me and saying, boss man, 3 years it's so. Not one of them take we call, take we message. Look, we just proven every single day that we are capable and we are committed. You have to decide what kind of country you want to raise your children in. Because it comes down to that. It comes down to what kind of country you want to raise your children in. If you want a nation where it works, because I asked myself, we said we're going to talk about farming. There is no person, no profession in Trinidad, in the world. There's no profession, no discipline more important than farmers. None. The doctor can't work, the lawyer can't work, the priest can't work, the pundit can't work, the imam can't work. None of them could work. The police can't work, prime minister can't work, president can't work if the farmer don't provide food. Without food and sustenance, none of them could work. The farmer in your society should be the most respected person in your society. Society, modern civilization was built around the farm. Man stopped walking across the road of the world, eating everything in a location and packing up and moving when man learned to farm. And when we learned to farm, we built villages, and villages turned to towns, and towns turned to cities, and cities and towns and villages linked up and became countries and nations. But all of it in China, America, Russia, India, England, Scotland, France, Trinidad and Tobago, nothing matters without the farm. The church doesn't matter. The archbishop, you could fire the archbishop. You don't need an archbishop. You need farmers. The farmer more important than your doctor. 90% of your health is your diet. All of the things that are killing people in this country right now, heart disease. Trinidad and Tobago has the highest rate of heart disease among young black males in the world. That's this diet. This bullshit fast food diet young black males eating. Fried chicken and chips. Trinidad has some of the highest diabetes in the world. People going blind, losing limbs. And you don't know because those are not fancy stories. It don't make news. It don't trend. You don't see pretty girls showing off their tits and their ass saying, look, I lose my foot to diabetes. You don't see that. Can't say I do that. I don't want to mark myself. But you don't see those things. People, when the Marlboro man got lung cancer, he was no longer on the cover of the magazines. They wasn't marketing that. So you have a responsibility to find sensible information and work with it. So even if you don't like healthy food, learn to like it. Don't tell me about there is convenience in fast food. There isn't. Not when you have to pay for that with your health and shortened life. Or that the second half of your life, you're popping pills by the handful just to stay alive. The most important person in the society is not hardcore. Hardcore importing food because the government don't help farmers farm. Hardcore is irrelevant. Robert Haddad and the family could pack up the Jaji bundle and haul their ass. The farmers more important than Massey. The farmers more important than Massey stores. Massey, every single Massey store could close down and go out of business. It doesn't matter. The farmer matters. And if we stop the bullshit of Amco and Samga and Massey and Hardco having the lion's share of our food supply by importing bullshit from a foreign country and help our farmers, our 30,000 registered farmers, help them. Put our 100,000 acres of fertile land. Keep Rowley say our land not fertile. That jackass couldn't, and he was a minister of agriculture. He couldn't find sense if sense bit him on his ass. We have 100,000 acres of land right now languishing that people thieving and building house on fancy house and fancy mall. Stop that shit. The money will run out. And when it run out, Hadco and Samga and Massey and all of them, business fixed. They don't have to stay here when it turns to shit. When food run out and they have no foreign exchange and they have nothing to tax and the country is a shithole, those who have money could leave. It is you that will be stuck here, licking the inside of a garbage can trying to fill your empty belly. Now, I am not opposed to business, but I am opposed to the bullshit that has this country dependent on food imports. PriceSmart sells kale for $45 in a pack. That a Trinidadian woman who has been helping people set up kale farms throughout this country, she sells the same amount of kale. Her name is Shaliza. She sells the same amount of kale for $3. PriceSmart is selling the kale that she's selling. And if you put PriceSmart kale next to her kale, you can't tell the difference. Kale is kale. But PriceSmart is selling the same amount of kale for 9 times the price. Somebody like Shaliza should have access to sell to the public, and the public should have access to easy markets. Everywhere there is a Massey. You see, when we came and planted that contemptuous sign outside Massey stores on Maraval, Highways Act, no vending, to run that poor black fella who built his life on that little 2x4. And families used to stop and get their pawpaw and the mango and the banana, and we run him. We chase him. He can't have a life. He can't have a chance. He mustn't have a shot. He didn't want more than his little table selling his mangoes and his pawpaw. He there for decades. We run him and put a big sign, no vending. Government is using the power of the people against the people. And I tell Trinidad and Tobago this: everywhere there is a Massey stores, if I were Prime Minister, I will find a way to open a market across the road. Just because I know people shopping here, they should have access to good, affordable, free food and cheap food and good food, nutritious food. Farmers should have places multiples of options to sell. The farmer, I don't care who vex. The farmer is more important in this country than the Chief Justice. No judge can go to work with a belly full of gas. The farmer is important. The price of food we pay, prices we're paying for food in Trinidad is ridiculous. Government saying that we have enough flour because they prudently stockpile flour. You prudent my ass. We should be eating breadfruit. Shagga Ramos could take all the breadfruit trees we need. Stop giving it away to friends and financiers to build bullshit. Plant breadfruit trees. One breadfruit tree feeding a family of 4 for 75 years. Divide 1.4 million by 4 and you know how much breadfruit trees you need. Avocado is the healthiest fat in the world. A ripe avocado butters toast like butter. And it is the healthiest fat in the world. It is the type of fat that reduces your cholesterol. We need more people eating avocado in more of their diets. In more of their meals, you need avocado. One guava has 5 times the vitamin C of an orange. One pomerac have more fiber than 10 apples. Where you getting guava and pomerac to buy except on the side of the road with hustlers darting in and out of the traffic? Where in Massey? Where in True Value? Where in JTA? Where? And you know what's the thing about mango and guava? A mango is such a marvelous fruit that it will reverse aging. Mangoes. Now, Jamaica making millions, hundreds of millions of dollars, US dollars, selling mangoes to the United States because science is telling people your diet is the important thing. Mango tree, avocado tree, breadfruit tree, guava tree, pomerac tree. See those trees? When they grow, you don't need to water it. You don't need to fertilize it. You don't need to talk to it. You don't need to mine it. All you need to do is at harvest time, come and pick. It's bounty. Because it wants to give you its bounty. Spread it far and wide. Nature, evolution wants the seeds to go as far as it could and end up in a landfill and sprout and become a tree. Sprout into a tree. They can't stop extolling the virtues of soursop, the only natural cancer fighter in the world. Men should be eating pawpaw every day. If a man can eat a whole pawpaw every day, he protects his prostate and he protects his colon. The 2 things that killing men besides heart disease is colon cancer. Pawpaw, anything orange, anything red, has lycopene in it. And lycopene has been proven to reverse and stave off prostate cancer. The fiber in a pawpaw, in a pomerac, fiber in a mango forces everything out of your system. It scrubs your intestines. What causes cancer is over time, during aging, we develop fissures, and those fissures, you don't want food trapped and turning to fecal matter higher and higher up in your intestines. You want to keep your system clean. You want to scrub it clean, and fiber does that. And fiber helps. All talking about cleanse, fiber draws it out, because if your body not minding, if your body not busy minding 20 pounds of waste in your system, because all the fiber, and you know when you eat a high fiber diet, you know when you eat like you end up with a fruit salad, and all of a sudden you have moved stuff that have been impacted and in there for a while. We need we the people of Trinidad and Tobago, we are people, a man come with a thing and say our farmers' food too expensive. That's bullshit. As buy direct from the farmers. Go to the farmer until the government gets sense and build farms, build markets where the farmers, so every town, every village where there are farmers should have a market for the farmers, and not just the farmers. Because the people come in to shop for the farmers, you can have retail stores selling everything, toys, cooked food. I love watching shows like the show with Bizarre Foods with with that fella Zimon. Where he go, his first name is What's his first name? Zimmerman is his last name. He goes to places where they buy fish straight off the docks, straight off the boat. The fish still beaten up, and they go to the market and they hand it into stores who have a fee that they charge you to clean the fish, cook the fish, give it to you on a plate. That's a thing. That's a thing. We could have that. You could have markets for food and fish and meat and clothes and haberdashery and all of that. That's what we need to return to. Food that has to be stabilized to sell in cans and boxes and packs. Those stabilizers are cancer-causing agents. You do not need that in your system. The nitrites and the nitrates that they add to process and preserve meat to sell you as fancy ham. When I found out what that does to you and your system and your brain and how it stops oxygen, it stops your body processing oxygen and it damages your brain and leads to Alzheimer's. You know a fellow named Dr. Amen, A-M-E-N, like praying Amen, on YouTube. Go and watch his videos and learn. Andrew Zimmern. Thank you for that, Elwin. But the point I'm trying to make is that our farmers, and what do our farmers need? Our farmers need protection from predial larceny. So do they need fences, electric fences, gun stations, police driving around at night? No. What they need is for the government to criminalize having large volumes of food stocks without being able to prove how you come to have possession of this. And in anything else, it's a crime. But in food stuff, we ignore. It's like we want the criminals to drive the farmers and frustrate them. It's like we want that. We want insurance for farmers. Farmers need assistance. They need help. Our Ministry of Agriculture and Food Production should have people dedicated to checking the coming food stocks. What's on the vine? What's on the branch? What's in the... What you going to plant today? Pomsite? I'll tell you, plenty of people planting pomsite, so maybe you want to shift. You're planting side, we have plenty side. What we see in 3 months' time, we will have a glut of side. You adding to that, you will just be wasting time. Try plant some chardonnay. And I'm just saying these as suggestions. Plant tomatoes. We don't have enough tomatoes coming. You will know the consumption patterns of the country. You know how much tomatoes, how much plantain, how much okra, how much melangen. These are very important foods. The color of a melangen, you see that purple black? Those things that are so vibrant, that, and they were saying, closer to the tree, the better for me. If 90% of your diet could be straight off a tree, fresh, if you could be sucking mangoes, eating guavas and pomerac every day, but it don't have to be wrapped up in wax and freeze-dried and so, or you see how they send the apples in Trinidad? Take an apple and a very sharp knife and scrape it. What's on that apple is not good for you. And there are people who tell you you should take it off. But there are utilitarians that say, well, 1 in 200 go dead from something, so that's acceptable. It's not. It's not. The people who want to sell fruits should get a receipt from the people who are growing the fruits and the foods. So I'm not saying don't set you up as a vendor. I'm saying you should be in some way registered, and you should, even if you're not registered, for you to be in possession of a volume of food stocks, you should be able to say, this is where I got it from. I got it from Farmer Brown. I bought it this morning. I paid $250 for it. Look, my receipt from Farmer Brown. He stamped it. He's a registered farmer. That will end predial larceny. Because people don't thief your goods to eat it. They thief it to sell it. And if you interrupt the ability to sell it, predial larceny done. So the next thing we have to talk about is water. And the same thing I tell you, capture, hold, treat, distribute. So everywhere there is a group of farms, we want to create retention ponds so that the farmers have access to water. Because water is important. Seedlings, sunshine, water. Boom. Protect the farmers' produce, and Trinidad will be food self-sufficient in 5 years. We have 30,000 registered farmers. We have 100,000 idle acres of land. We could make 1 acre available to each of those 30,000 farmers and start them and tell them, I want you growing pomsite, I want you growing popo, I want you growing pimento, I want you growing pomarac, I want you growing guava, I want you growing okra, I want you growing melon, I want you growing watermelon. You hear the diet? You hear that diet? And I want you to make short-term, medium-term, long-term crops so we get best use of the land so that we could wax, somebody tell me wax on the apple. And we will make sure as a Ministry of Food Production, Ministry of Agriculture, that there are ample ways for you to sell your produce and that people will drive around, that the ministry will even come to you and tell you, listen, we could partner with you, we will make this land available to you, and we will make the seedlings available to you. We will make lectures, people to come and guide you, so you don't come and overspray and put a set of cancer-causing chemicals on the food. We will help you grow your food, and when it is ready to harvest, we'll take 20%. You sell the rest. You sell the rest. We will take 20%. And we take 20% from every farmer. Now just join your reference. Don't say that I'm going to tax every farmer 20%. I'm just saying that it's an option. So that you who want to be a farmer, you don't have to go and sit down and blow smoke up Rowley ass and get a PNM Balize card and sit down in a place and yeah, I want to be a farmer so you can sell back the land to people represented by members of parliament and fool us. I don't want that shit. I want genuine, authentic, real farmers. And this is the deal. You have 2 years. And if in that 2 years, your crop totals doesn't come close to what we anticipate as the yield required from that land, you're wasting the land. Move on. Somebody else getting it. Somebody else getting it. Because we need that. And we need food production. We need that. And just these 2 things we talk about tonight, water, flooding, farming, food production, will put water in your taps, will take away the tank and the pump from your electric bill, and the bottled water that you have to buy, and the truck water that you have to buy. It'll take away all of that gone. And by putting the farmers to work, your food bill will come down in less than half. And we will save billions of US dollars in foreign exchange that we don't have to spend importing food because we're growing it. And that the people who are growing things that are made for export, that the people who are growing things like peppers that we could use to make pepper mash, the people who are growing things that we could reduce and use tomato paste. Trinidad could generate, we could generate sales, we could help people, our tomatoes and our peppers together, Louisiana hot sauce. We could create opportunities downstream and help the farmer meet the entrepreneur. And before you know it, we have the next Bird's Eye, or we have the next Swanson, or the next Stouffer's, or the next any brand that you could think of, packaging our food for sale to the world. Now come on, tell me that is not a sensible approach. That you capture the rainwater so it doesn't flood, and you use the rainwater that you captured in the system within the community where it was captured. Tell me that is not the most sense you've ever heard politically in this country. And that's just 3 things: flooding, water, and food. Very important things. But electing a government to office that understands the simplicity of fixing these things is what you have to do. You have a responsibility to yourself and your children and your grandchildren and everybody else. You have a responsibility to your neighbors and your colleagues. You have a responsibility to the rest of the citizens to make a sensible decision at election time that votes people into office that have a plan, that have a working knowledge, that have ideas, that are willing to work with everybody. What we just talked about puts 30,000 farmers to work. Each of those farmers will hire about 4 people. That's 120,000 employees. That's in a heartbeat, that many people at work. Call me about clapping because a cruise ship come and take 200 of we people, or 2,000 of we people that they throw on the breadline, that they couldn't care about. it could fix. Everything could fix. Education could fix. Healthcare could fix. The roads, transportation, traffic, all of it could fix. The justice system, law enforcement, corruption, transparency, accountability, the parliament, our justice system, the ability to, our government system, the ability to fire members of parliament for not working. We could fix all of it. We could end the drug trade, establish the maritime security wall, unstuff all the containers on the ports until the narco traffickers stop using Trinidad as a destination. We could fix all of it. We can build our tertiary education based on our jobs policy, and our tertiary education can be fed from our secondary education, so we slipstreaming people from the age of 10, 11, 12 who are demonstrating capacities or experience based on what their father doing. Because people have a natural tendency and they want to lean a certain way, and education is supposed to create the opportunities for them to find their way. And when you find what you're naturally predisposed to, then we groom you in that and take you forward and help you fit yourself into the whole national socioeconomic framework, so you could get married and raise a family and provide for them and educate new generations of citizens coming to take this country forward to first world nation status. And we can do those things. All you need is a plan, a commitment to follow through with that plan, and people in office who want to be in government ethically, with integrity. Somebody said to me, your character is who you are when nobody watching. I love that. I love that. Who you are when nobody's watching, that's your character. That's who you fundamentally are. And we need to surround ourselves with people who are not in this for riches, who in it to know that at the end of it all, at the end of the life, to say, I made a difference. I made a change. My country is no longer a shithole. Trinidad is first world. It is developed. People lining up in the snow in Canada to come and live here. That's what we want. That's the plan. And they used to tell me how impossible it was. They're not telling me that anymore. They're telling me, Phil, you have a shot, you know. People are awake. People are hearing you. Stuart Henderson came to influential people to get involved, to have a debate, and I am so excited about that. And he would like to coordinate, and he's started talking to very influential people to get involved, to have a debate. And what would you do to solve water? What would you do to reduce the food prices? What will you do about our money and the value of a unit of work in Trinidad and Tobago as opposed to the rest of the developed world? What will you do about our justice system? What would you do about our parliament? What would you do about our system of governance? What are your plans? We need that. We need that like a crackhead named Crack. So Heidi Silva's number is 3748747. To the people who watched this video tonight and got excited by the things that I said and say I want to help this man, call Sahai at 3748747 and make a donation. If you want to make a very large donation, call Felicia Holder at 769-4590. She's the chairman of the party and financial controller. If you want to be involved in your constituency to get ready to have a potential to be a candidate for local government or general national elections, or if you want to be the chairman or the treasurer and to assist in the build out of your constituency, please call Satish Ramsaran at 796-8172. Between him and Esther Prince, they are working to organize and build out all of the constituencies. We were at 34 in 2020. We're going to be 41 real quick. We're opening new offices in all of the constituencies. If you want to be involved, you want to help, please come on board. We are doing this fundraiser, Pepper Cooler Cruise, Saturday, January 25th, June 25th, sorry. Saturday, June 25th, right. It's $300 for a ticket. If you're not coming, if you have no interest of coming on a cruise still, please buy a ticket. I have tickets. Buy my tickets. My number is 682-2110. Message me and take 10 tickets from me and help us. We need to raise money to fight all manner of battles They're making it difficult for us to stand up for you. And we are working hard to get through all of that. We're literally paying our dues. I was telling somebody today, because they're circulating this video when I was brand new and I had my mother's milk around my mouth, talking to Fazir Mohammed about those 700,000 people living below the poverty line, because it's a massive number of people, and the UNDP says 350,000, and people say a good rule of thumb is multiply everything by 2. But I couldn't tell Fazir that because I wasn't yet politically mature, so I had to take my hit. But I asked them, I say, when you look at those interviews and the very few interviews I get and the questions they grill me with, you ever see when the rest of the political leaders go on those shows, they don't ask them those questions? You ever ask yourself why? Does it have to do anything with... Anyway, I'm going to leave that alone. Please, we need your assistance. To sign up for the Citizens Union of Trinidad and Tobago, 486-2888. If you have a problem that you want fixed, Ian Griffith and myself will be at, because Ian is the man who handles, coordinates the response of the Citizens Union. If you have a problem that needs fixed, come to our office, 14 to 17 Park Street, Port of Spain, opposite Victoria Square, any Saturday at noon, and we will meet everybody who comes. And once we take on your problem, we're not going to stop till we solve it. Yeah? So, I think that's it. Thank all of you for joining. Until tomorrow, stay safe, Trinidad and Tobago. Party becoming one big happy family. Just reading the thread and the conversation. People asking about this, people answering them about that. Just watching that. It's becoming what it was always supposed to be.
If for 30 years you vote in the name,
and this all big tears,
as soon as they win,
they give you big words and enslave your souls, promising your roads. Economy won't sprout.
When you're voting, vote them out. Vote them out. If it is the passing laws that them alone can come. When you're voting, vote them out. Vote them out. If it is the building,
I saw
east, west, north, and south, let's say where you vote them in. Vote them out. Register and vote them out. Totally. Take no finger and rescue the country. Put them up with tempo, they happy in vain.
sir. Please, your assistance is needed for myself and hundreds of others in dire straits. Immigration officers have not been in receipt of their traveling upkeep dues for the entire year. Most of us depend on this as part of our salaries. $2,400 per month is being denied to us since January, putting us in great hardship. Any assistance is greatly appreciated. Well, let's see what they do now.
If their policy is a fallacy, bureaucracy, a catastrophe, if they cannot work,
And you're seeing so,
then your only hope
it's for them to go.
if it is fabrication, these statements that they spout. When you're voting, put them out, put them out. If it is a frustration, let's make you want to shout. When you're voting, put them out, put them out.
Before they just use out, T-Phone sell out and
If it you vote them in, put them out. Register and put them out. All of them, put them out. Take your finger and put them out. Them on the system, put them out. Put them out in Scarborough and in Port of Spain. Let's put our country together again. Put them out in Komodo and in Lagos. Let's put our country together again.
Somebody sent me a picture saying this is me growing sugar apples in pots. You could imagine what I could do with a piece of land. Yep. Making my point.
People must come first.
Citizens by right. None of we are worse. Yellow, black or white.
Who shelter and first? The movement and speech. A gap that grows and one love for each. If it is that injustice is what they always show. When you're voting, put them out, put them out. If it is that avarice
It's all they seem to know.
when you're voting, put them out, put them out. If it is their politics,
It's just a puppy show. When elections day come, all bandits must go.
register and put them out. If they don't see, put them out. State your finger and put them out. Show them no mercy, put them out. Put them out in total scorn and utter mistake. Let's put our country together again.
I tell you about the person I talked to about the MP, right? So I tell them, write your name and who is your MP, and I will call them. And they say, okay. Now, they was peppering me with messages, but that solution, they don't want. And ask yourself why. Trinidadians have isolated themselves, trapped themselves behind a wall of race. Race killing you. Party support killing you. You are a victim of the party that you're supporting. You can't see that. What can I tell you? Until tomorrow.